Okay, let's talk about education. Our kids are not getting a proper education. As you remember, people my age back there, we learned from books. We had to get a certain grade, or we repeated that grade if you missed it out. Now they got computers. They got uh, teachers that can't even spell, some of them. I mean, I'm not getting down on teachers. It's a hard job, but I've seen some of their notes they send home with, well, when my grandkids used to stay with me, to tell you it was terrible the way they spelled. But anyway, there's too many teachers that are going to be extinct. The same as a lot of the welfare people, and you know, we're bringing in. And I keep saying I got nothing against foreigners, but we should help them in their countries, not bring them here for cheap labor. The whole idea is to get rid of the unions and cheap labor. Canadians are being put out on the job in this country, in this province, New Brunswick, Canada. Uh, they got a two-tier system. Uh, the companies pay 25. The companies pay 75% of the wages, and the people pay 25. And that, and like our taxes, the government pays the 25. But that's only for foreigners. That's not for the regular people. Like, I didn't mean it that way, regular people. I mean, that's not for Canadians. It's only for foreigners. So who are you going to hire? The foreigners or Canadians? In this case, I don't know how it's run in the States. If they do the same thing, it's not right. Whatever they do, if they're going to do it, they should do it for all. Now, my idea is people on welfare. Minimum wage is $10 here. But if you take taxes, income, unemployment insurance, and all this other stuff off, they make less than they do on welfare. So the whole idea is put them to work. Don't take no taxes off them. Leave them keep their medical card. Uh, this way you'll get them off welfare. You won't be paying their wages. The only thing you'll be paying is medical, which is almost free. Anyway, medical is, we got Medicare in this country, but you'd have to pay for their medication. Which, on average, you'd be still saving hell of a lot of money. Back to education now. The kids are not learning anywhere. That's I don't hate Muslim people, but it's the only thing I've seen. Well, they live in a pretty bad country, desolate, all desert and hot. It's hard to grow anything. But if they let their kids get educated, only the men are allowed to get an education in these tribal areas, and where everybody should be able to get an education. If let the women get girls get an education too. Sometimes the girls are, usually the girls are a lot smarter than the men as far as learning goes. And well, sex crimes, I won't comment on that because that's putting women in jail for the rest of their life because of a mistake is in my opinion is wrong, but people do make mistakes. Arranged marriages is old-fashioned. They shouldn't even be allowed. If you make a mistake, you embarrass the whole family. I don't know why the whole family's embarrassed. I mean, that's pretty well up to them. I mean, that's their thing. But they should try to change. I mean, change a little bit with the world. Now, as I said once before, I don't know. I don't think the first tape got published. So, uh, uh, the, the the people. See, I lose track of what I'm saying because I got so many things going through that I want to say. Uh, we are the Muslims, the Jews, and the Christians. We all consider ourselves children of Abraham. So why are we fighting? We all consider Abraham our father. Uh, so the beginning, you know. I mean, there's a little bit of history in between that, but I mean, we shouldn't be fighting. And only the young men go to war. I mean, I realize that a lot of the top officers, and I'll tell you where to go to find this, uh, are being blackmailed by the rich, by the people who set this whole thing up. And you go look at K Gribbs, Griggs or Gribbs. I'm not sure which it is. But I've listened to a lot of her videos, and she tells everything like it is. Her husband was a top officer in the U.S. Army. I'm not picking on the U.S. either. They're our closest neighbors. We once were all together before the Revolutionary War. We lost that, didn't we? Yeah, I think we did. Yeah, what the hell? You gotta have a sense of humor. I mean, if you don't have a sense of humor, I'll tell you, there's a group. They're called the WTF Girls, and they find some weird videos. Like one was texting. It's on the highway, whether cars are driving. It says texting while driving is dangerous. To find out more information, text so and so number. I thought that was hilarious. I mean, these girls are hilarious, and that's their whole thing is to try to get a laugh out of people. And the world needs to laugh. There's too much. Uh, I've been following elections in the United States. Why does the uh, well, there's the Democrats and the Republicans held a Jewish constitutional something. I don't know. I just seen it there. And all the Republicans. I'm not picking on the Republicans. I'm just saying, what I know are seem to be all ready to go to war, except Ron Paul. He said we should mind our own business, and he's kind of right because we're losing a lot of good young men over there, and I'm very proud of them. I've had someone over there, and he's not dead. He's home now, but and the thing is, it's only the young dying. These old rich guys that are circling the wagons and planning all this stuff. They just sit at home and got bunkers to hide into. I even heard that they got underground army bases and everything else. I don't know if that part's true because the guy I was listening to was he was a real radical. I mean, uh, I even forget his name right now, but, so I can't tell you where to go to watch him because, anyway, we've got to save our kids. We have to make it a better world for our kids, and being at war all the time is not cutting it. You know, that's what they're growing up. We are programmed from birth. I, I was okay, where I came from, down the Miramichi. A lot of people from the states come down there do salmon fishing and stuff. I live right on the river myself, and But my parents were great. I mean, they didn't beat us. If they want your attention, you ever seen that guy in NCIS? Hit, slap him in the back of the head. That's how my father got our attention. And there's nobody I respect more than my mother and father. It's not just because they're my mother and father. They never told us how to think. They always let us figure out stuff for ourselves. I never knew who they voted for. And my dad died when he was 79. My mom was 73. She died of cancer, and he died of congestion, heart congestion, because he wouldn't quit smoking. And he drank quite a bit in his younger days. So did I. I drank in my younger days, but I quit 31 years ago. And one more thing. Now, Mel Gibson made a mistake when he said John Lennon should be dead. But he didn't make a mistake when he said John Lennon was Masonic, because John Lennon is Masonic. And if you want me to prove it, I can prove it. There's a couple of people that I think are great in the States. All the movie stars pitch in and they help, raise money for different things, go overseas to entertain the troops and that. But George Clooney, he's 9/11, he's raised money. Uh, Brad Pitt went down there and helped build the houses. He didn't just stand back and say, "Oh, I'll give you the money here, you build the house." No, he went down there and helped them build. And now, I think it was Barbara Bush, George Bush's uh, wife, George Bush the first, said she had no sympathy for those people. Now, it made it look like she was saying about people in New Orleans. I don't know if that's what she was saying or not. It wasn't on the news. It's in a same thing where I can tell you where about John Lennon. Not only John Lennon, you'd be surprised. There's a lot of people into that stuff. Masons are the building stones of society, and the one world order that wants to run things. But back to the kids now, because I'm running out of time. We have to give them a better education. We have to learn them. Take away their computers and put books back in the school. Unless you quote things right, put things in a respective. Uh, uh, you're not going to get the right answer on a computer. You got to put them in like brackets or colons on each side to find the fastest and the best way to get there, the best answers. But really, they shouldn't even have to. They should be learning out of books. I mean, then they just push the kids through. Just so they don't have to put up with them next year. Because there's more kids coming in the school system. It saves money. The faster the kids get in school, get out of school, the more money they save, and the faster they pay taxes. I don't agree with this. Well, my granddaughter, my oldest granddaughter, she's smart as a whip. I mean, she learned from books. She used to say, "Why do teachers get 2 months off here? They should only have 2 weeks like everybody else." Because she loved going to school. Well, I tell you, I didn't love going to school, but uh, there's a lot. But they got something we didn't grow up with. Is like my age, 63, and they didn't grow up with all the crap in the food, the steroids and what they say Prozac. Chickens have Prozac in them. Well, gee, what chickens got to be anxious about? And then they put Prozac in them, then they fast feed them, and then they put steroids in them. The cattle they put hormones in them. I mean, we're eating crap, and we're getting fat, obese, and so then we end up with diabetes. told you about the cure for diabetes and cancer I found, and I found it, and it was stolen out of my computer. I put it in my desktop so I could read it later because there's a lot of stuff to go through. I'll tell you about that later, next time, because my screen went black, so that must mean my time's up. I don't know. But I'm not a very good talker, but I do my best. I try to get my point across. But education